Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I wanted to hop on this fine Tuesday afternoon, do a little trade recap for you guys. I wasn't able to get a live trade recording of any of the trades this morning, but wanted to hop on, do a little recap what I was seeing this morning, some of the things I took. I didn't have a whole lot of clarity for what I was trading this morning. I mean, I had enough clarity to take the position, of course, but it was a bit of a weird day in the market. Weird past 2 days. We've kind of been in this bigger time frame, choppy range, but still chopping within a 400-point range today. Yesterday was a 300-point range, right? So a lot of volatility in the market, a lot of opportunity to make money. Just not a lot of continuation on the higher time frame of some of these moves. It's more just more scalpy, but that's totally fine when you're in a 400-point range, right? So let's get into what happened this morning. This is right at market open here, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. We made a little bit of a move higher, take out all of this liquidity sitting to the left and some of these previous highs here. And then we made a run all the way down we took out London low, Asia low, already had got taken from the morning or last night, but Asia low got taken again, and then we sold all the way down to this bigger time frame daily low I have all the way back from October 17th, right? So definitely sold off a good amount, but present buyers are coming off of this sweep here from this low of October 17th there. So that's something I'm watching. If we want to continue trading lower to get to the lows of October, that would be fine with me. I wouldn't worry too much about that. But as of now, we're seeing some clear buyers step in from this area. So given that, we dropped this morning, had a nice sell-off. I didn't take anything all morning. I just didn't have anything here. I didn't have the clarity for the short going right into the open personally, so I didn't take that. So I'm just chilling, right? Hands off, not doing anything. And then right here, 10:30 a.m. Eastern hits. That means that the initial balance has formed. For those that don't know initial balance, I'll give a short rundown real quick. Initial balance is just that first hour high and low. So after the first hour of the market, that's 10:30 a.m. Eastern. You mark the high, you mark the low. That's your initial balance area. It's basically like an hourly orb. That's the best way to think of it. But long story short, when you go over to Edgeful and you see what kind of data they have on the IB, you can, let's see if this loads for me. Here we go. You can look at IB data, go to MNQ, get this to load here. And you can see on every given day, right, it's a very high chance that we get a single break. It's a 76.34% chance that we get a single break, 20% chance, 20.61% chance we see both sides break, which would be IB high and low breaking, and there's only a 3% chance that we never see a break, right? So there's about what is that, like a 97% chance that you see a break of one side every single day, right? So a very high chance you're going to see a break of one side. Then we go to what's in play. Scroll all the way down. I have a lot of these on here. You can see IB by rejection for today in the New York session showed us that the first break being the IB high only had a 22% chance today. The first break being the IB low had a 72.88% chance today. So even if we end up hitting both IB levels, I'm able to potentially capitalize off of this data here, seeing that there's a 72, almost 73% chance that we're going to hit that IB low first. So knowing that, 10:30 forms, right? At this moment, I wasn't really confident in the shorts quite yet, but we made another drop. This is IB low right here, and I was able to tap into, I think it was a 15-minute. I gotta look at this because I didn't keep it drawn. I deleted the drawing from earlier. So give me 1 second. I got to find this from earlier. Here you go. 15-minute order block. Mark that. Bearish order block there. Now we drop into the lower time frame. And you can see basically right where my entry was. My entry was 24, 5, 10, 25. Again, playing small on this live account. I am playing funded accounts as well. But just for the sake of learning purposes, right, I was, just showing you guys on here. I'm just trading this smaller live account, and just showing you guys like what is actually doable with a smaller live account. And it's at 2,600 now, taking very small risk on the day as well. So we were able to make, what was it, about $300 today. Where's that? $327 today, and I was only risking about total risk about $50 on the day. We'll talk. I'll get into that here. But long story short, we tap back into that 15-minute bearish order block. I'm expecting rejection there. I'm expecting the market to trade to this low. There's a very high chance we're going to trade to this low. ES was also looking weak here. Dow, RTY, everything was looking weak here. So when we tapped into this order block, I waited for a little bit of rejection, got my entry at that 510.25, and was able to trade that lower to take out all of this resting sell-side liquidity, sell-side liquidity, sell-side liquidity, sell-side liquidity, and then your IB low final sell-side liquidity sitting here. Of course, on the higher time frame, if you were looking at the higher time frame, you could have definitely been targeting this daily low, which is your even higher time frame sell-side liquidity there, right? So beautiful move there. But going into this short, I especially took it lighter because going into this, I was anticipating I was going to take another trade, right? I was anticipating that we were going to see some sort of bullish move off of this IB low sweep here, and we absolutely did, right? Right after we take out the IB low, what do we see? Let me just mark this out as well, just to make this easier for you guys to see this sell side liquidity here. So we take out that low, we take out the bigger time frame sell side. What do we do? Let me inversion. Beautiful inverse for value gap here. Could have been a little bit better. We spent a little bit of time in here with two different candles. It's always better if one candlestick just shreds through it completely. But that was good enough, right? We got the sweep. We got everything else that we needed to see. Now we get a bullish order block forming here. When you tap into a 5-minute time frame here as well, you can see, find myself here. You can see that we had a 5-minute change in the state. So the last series of down close candles that swept liquidity to the left, right, gets closed above. That is a bullish order block or a change in the state of delivery here. And so after we saw that, I also had a few things marked here, right? I had this bullish breaker. So we have this bullish breaker to the left, right? That last up close candle, that whole area. And you can see as soon as we get over that, we start trading over that. We're respecting consequence encroachment of this bullish breaker extremely well, right? We may wick under it slightly, but you can see every single body of these candlesticks is holding the consequence encroachment of this. Also, any wicks that we took down below that, we were holding the change in the state of delivery, right? So at this point, after I've seen all of this here, bullish order block on the lower time frame, and then I pop up to the 5-minute time frame, and I can see that we got a bullish change in the state on the 5-minute here as well. And then we're also making that breaker. I keep losing myself. There we are. Then we also have that breaker while respecting consequence encroachment of it. So I took my entry right at consequence encroachment, 24,508.50. We were risking just below the consequence encroachment of this breakaway gap. So the risk there, this is what's beautiful, and this is what I was getting at initially, is my trade here yielded me about $150 or so. Give or take, right around there. I don't exactly remember. Long story short, the risk on this trade was about that. I actually want to fact check myself there and just double check. Let me get, how many points was that? Would have been, just call it 60. There we go. Boom. So you can see my risk on that trade, I was risking below this breakaway gap. If we go to a 2-minute chart, I know this is a lot of different charts, but I'm constantly scanning through these different time frames. If we go to a 2-minute chart, this open for value gap, I expected this to stay open at most. I expected us to, if we needed to trade into it, only trade to consequence encroachment and hold above that. So my stop goes right below that. We had a bullish for value gap here. This could have been another entry as well. You didn't have to use this bullish breaker here at all. You could have just been on a 2-minute chart, saw that we got the 5-minute change in the state, and then after that, had your bullish for value gap. You have your breakaway gap. You don't expect us to trade in here, so what happens here? What's another position you could have taken? Longs at that fair value gap. risking consequence encroachment of this breakaway gap because you know you shouldn't trade in here. Targeting what? Targeting previous highs here. You could have targeted these previous highs here. My risk was not, I wasn't willing to trade all the way up here. I didn't think the market was going to rebalance to these highs at least that fast. So I was just trading into these highs initially. But still, that's a phenomenal trade, right? And you could have gotten to the same, same conclusion of that just by looking at it slightly differently. So I was also looking at things like that. Again, we took that into these highs. Not just those highs, though. I think it was an hourly bearish for value gap marked. I need to mark it so I can remember. I think it was this one, yes. 593. Yep. So you can see that hourly bearish for value gap lines up with these previous highs perfectly. This is what we were targeting here. So you could just call this, internal buy side liquidity. The reason I didn't get my sell right at this buy side and I got it slightly before is because I market ordered out of this position because ES was taking these ES was taking these highs first. And so obviously I could have let it go. That would have worked out for me. At the time, I was expecting a little bit more rejection initially out of this for value gap. So I was thinking, oh, if we have bearish SMT forming against me here, I'm just going to take my position off. And that's what I did. I'm happy with that decision, to be honest. It only would have made me a few extra bucks. Nothing too crazy. And again, I'm taking small risk on this account, so not too bad. And again, with that, I already knew my risk was only as much as I made here, right? I made about 150 bucks here. My trade here, I was only risking 120 bucks. I know no matter what, I'm still going to be green on the day, even if this trade fails, right? And so I think that was it's a nice thing for people to see, I think, because you don't always have to hit these giant trades, especially because I know a lot of you guys are trading these smaller accounts. You can really take things slow, especially when volatility is as high as it is, and trade a smaller amount of contracts. And you can see again, even with me, total risk on the day was technically what? I mean, really, I took no risk on the day after this trade, right? After this trade was taken, my risk here was about 50 bucks because I was risking above these highs. I didn't really talk about my risk on this trade. I apologize. But when we took that short at this order block, my risk was just these highs. We shouldn't be trading here, which was about 50 bucks. That was the only risk I took all day because I made about 150 bucks here and then was risking that 120 here, right? So no risk was taken on this trade whatsoever. And those are the positions I like to put myself in and then be only risking 50 bucks to make $327 on the day. Now, is that a ton of money? Absolutely not, and I know that, right? But I'm building the smaller account, and just imagine when things are built up a bit more and I can actually risk more on this account, right? It might turn into risking $1,000 to make, who knows, 3, 4, right? And that's a beautiful thing, and that's the risk to reward I look for on every single day if I can get it. Obviously, too, this morning, I know a lot of you guys understand that I trade to that midnight open pretty consistently. You can see this morning we opened up right at that midnight open. So no real trade for that today. You had to operate without that today, and that's fine. We know how to operate without that. We don't need that, but that is just such a high probability draw on liquidity every single day that we want to be trading with that if we can, right? But even if we don't have that, this is a great example of still being able to find high probable opportunities in the market. I did take one other trade today. It was a short off the IB midpoint. It was one of the automation trades from ClearEdge, so I didn't actually click any buttons. The automation just took that trade for me. I'm not going to deep dive too much into that trade here because that is just automation. If you guys want me to deep dive into that stuff a little bit more, let me know in the comments. But this is a great trade today and some great price action, to be honest, even though I know things haven't really gone anywhere in terms of where we're at, right? We're just staying in this range. But this range is massive, guys. This range is huge. Look at this, 450-point range, 500-point range. There's a lot of room to capitalize in that type of range. So use it to your advantage. And if you can't capitalize, right, there's nothing wrong with sitting back and doing nothing and staying cash until you have some high probable opportunities for your trading. So hope this breakdown helps some of you guys understand, what I was doing this morning, and maybe how to trade a morning like this. It is tougher, I will say. On a morning like this, when I was going into market open, I had no idea what I really wanted to do for the day. I had no idea where the market really wanted to go. And so that's when we just stay cash. We sit back. We don't take any random positions, right? I waited till that IB formed. We got that high probability drawn liquidity at that IB low, right? I was able to find a nice risk to reward entry for that. We got ourselves a little bit of money. And then with those gains, I was able to put myself in a position to risk nothing on the day, just risk a portion of the profits that we made and turn it into a decent day on this small account. So count $327 on the day, small account sitting at $2,600 on the day. That technically, this isn't completely correct for what I've done on this account. I have taken a few payouts from this account, and will continue to do so. But we're going to try and build it a little more from this 2,600 before I actually take any more payouts. So we'll keep track of that. I'll let you guys know what's going on with that. Make sure you're liking and subscribing on the channel. I appreciate everybody coming by and showing some love on these videos. And I'll try and make sure we get a live trade recording of the next trade I took. It was just tough this morning because we had to hop on stream and Spaces was down, so I had to handle that. But we'll get those going again in the next video. So appreciate all y'all. We'll see you in the next one. And yeah, make sure you're liking and subscribing. Peace out, y'all.